used car market of all markets. And so I was talking about this paper that George Akerlof wrote several decades ago, which was making the point that essentially when there's basically when there's an asymmetry in information, so that buyers know more than sellers or vice versa in a particular market, it can be the case that essentially the entire market, well, you can, first of all, you can fail to have a Pareto efficient outcome or Pareto optimal outcome in the sense that there may be some trades that if both parties were perfectly informed, they would engage in them, but because of this asymmetry in the information, one or both sides are unwilling to engage in this trade. So potentially you can fail to achieve the Pareto optimal outcome or Pareto optimal allocation, even in cases where you have free trade, there are no like various trade or anything like that, and there aren't even really externalities or anything like that. But furthermore, it turns out that if the asymmetric information is serious enough, the entire market can unravel. And so just to pick up where we left off, since that was like 1.5 weeks ago or something like that, so the idea is that you go onto the market, you want to sell your used car. So let's say that you want to maybe get a more fuel efficient car or a smaller car that's easier to drive in the city, so you have like a Honda Accord, and instead you want to buy like a Honda Insight or a Honda Fit or something like that. You've only driven your Accord like a few thousand miles, so in theory there's not very much wear and tear on it. So you go to sell it on the market, but the problem is that once you sell it on the market, the prospective buyers don't know if you're selling it for basically a quote-unquote legitimate reason, as in the car's perfectly fine, you just want to switch cars, or if you're selling it because it's a lemon and you want to unload it onto other people. And so if there was say like a 50-50 share of lemons and legitimate sales to begin with, then people would go in, buyers would go in sort of expecting that there was a 50-50 chance they were going to get a lemon, so they wouldn't be willing to pay as much as they, or nearly as much as they'd be willing to pay if they were certain that they were actually getting a good car. But that in turn means that the price that they're going to offer is pretty low, so people who are actually selling good cars don't really want to sell at that price because it's sort of, I mean, it may or may not be worth less than what it's worth to them, but it's certainly worth less than what it would be worth to somebody who actually wanted that particular type of car. And so some of the legitimate buyers are going to basically pull out because they, from their perspective, they're not getting enough money for the car. But the people who have, or sorry, some of the legitimate sellers will pull out because they're not getting enough money from the car. But the people who have lemons will still stay in it because they're willing to basically unload the car at any price that's above some relatively low price. But that means that there's going to be a higher share of lemons remaining in the market, which means that buyers are going to offer less, which is going to force out more of the legitimate sales, which is going to mean an even higher share of lemons are going to be being offered on the market, and so forth. And so it turns out that the entire market can unravel through this dynamic that I just described here. So the share of for sale slightly used Accords or lemons becomes higher, buyers lower the offer, this crowds out the remaining non-lemons. And it turns out that for some parameter values in this problem, the only slightly used cars that remain for sale are lemons. So it's basically, those cars are going to be heavily discounted. People go in expecting to get a lemon, they do in fact get a lemon, but people who legitimately would like to sell their car that's in pretty good condition can't do so because there's no way to credibly signal to the buyer that it's not a lemon. So that means that there are potential Pareto improving trades that aren't occurring because of this asymmetric information. So you can think about a case in which maybe there's somebody who has an Insight who wants a larger car and there's somebody who has an Accord who wants a smaller car, and so they'd be willing to just do a straight up trade. So this is just like, we don't even have like a monetary based economy now, this is just barter. And this could be a Pareto improving trade in that it might make both of these two people better off, but they're not willing to do that trade because the Accord buyer, or the Accord seller rather, like looks at the Insight and says, well, one Insight, but I bet this one's a lemon, so I don't really want that Insight. And then the Insight seller looks at the Accord and says, well, I want an Accord, but I think that that's a lemon, and so I want that Accord. And so the trade doesn't actually occur. In extreme cases, basically the entire market can unravel, and cars that are used cars that are in good condition basically won't be sold at all. So this model actually comes out to explain many of the empirical patterns that you observe in the used car market. So for one thing, it's going to recognize that a new car will lose about 10 to 20% of its value when it's driven off a lot, so just like the first 5 miles that you drive it. And sort of an explanation you might hear from people who aren't as familiar with this paper or this idea will be that people value this new car smell at like $4,000 or something like that. That seems unlikely, especially because the new car smell itself may not have dissipated by that time. The more likely explanation is that once the car leaves the dealer, the new owner has more information than any prospective buyer could, and the new owner basically will only want to sell it if they realize that it's a lemon, they want to unload it, and then of course buyers aren't willing to pay very much for it. So another thing that I think is basically explained by this whole lemons phenomenon is that often if you go onto like Craigslist or eBay or something like that, and you see people selling something, so in the extreme case maybe they're selling a car, but even if it's like they're selling their old iPhone or something like that, you'll often see that they're selling the car or this other good for some reason, like they say we're moving, so we need to sell this car, or like upgrading a car, or upgrading to the new iPhone or something, and that's why I'm selling this car or this iPhone. And if you didn't sort of know about the lemons problem, you might wonder, well, why are they wasting time advertising this information, right? Like as a consumer, all I care is that you're going to sell me some good at some particular price. I don't really care if you're like moving to Nebraska or if you just got like the iPhone 6 that got stolen from some prototype lab or something. I could not care less. All I care is what you're selling to me and how much I have to pay for it. But the reason is that what they're trying to do, whether they sort of realize it explicitly or not, is they're trying to signal that they're selling for some exogenous reason and not because it's a lemon. So it's like, I got this new job offer in Texas or something like that, and so I have to move, and that's why I'm selling my car. It's not the case that I'm selling the car to you because the car breaks down every 20 miles and I want to make it your problem instead of my problem. So there's no cost to doing this, to doing this type of advertising, and so you might as well try to do it, and maybe some people will feel reassured by it. But at the same time, this is a case where basically talk is cheap, right? So the fact that you say this, I mean, so if you were actually moving, and that's why you're selling, then of course you want to say that. But even if you're not moving, there's no way that the buyer's going to verify, or going to be able to verify whether or not you actually moved. So if you just had a lemon, you probably still want to say anyway that you're selling the car because you're moving rather than because it's a lemon, certainly. Okay, so it turns out that in the health insurance market, the same problem exists, and actually it's potentially much more, it's a much more important problem than in the used car market, both because first of all, health is probably more important than car resales, but also it arguably the unraveling of the market is probably even stronger in the health insurance market than it is in the used car market. So the idea here is that low-risk consumers don't want to buy health insurance because for them it's better to sort of gamble on them not getting sick rather than paying for some insurance that they're unlikely to use. But that means that insurers are going to raise rates because buyers are medium to high risk, and because the lowest people have basically selected out of the market. But that means that if the insurance rates are particularly high because they're only insuring people who are medium to high risk, then even the medium risk buyers might not want to insure, and the insurers might raise the rates further to account for this worsening risk pool. So with that sort of very brief introduction, we will go into the actual market simulation. So the setup is going to be as follows. First of all, has the list gone all the way around yet, or is it still, where is it right now? Okay, it's making its way slowly around. Okay, so what's going to happen here is that, as I said, there's 4 companies here, there's 7 consumers. So the companies are going to choose to sell insurance to the consumers, and the consumers are going to choose whether or not to buy the insurance. So the part of the reason we have 4 companies is there's going to be competition between the companies, right? So the companies, you guys are private companies, there are no restrictions on what price you can set. So you can choose to set any price that you wish to for insuring these consumers. However, so there's going to be costs, or there's going to be incentive to set it high. Obviously, the higher you set the price, the more money you can make. But there's also incentive not to set it too high. So there's 2 incentives not to set it too high. One is if you set it high enough, nobody's going to buy it, and then you won't make any money at all. The other is that there is competition here. So if you set it sort of moderately high, it might be the case that some people will buy it if you were the only company, but it may also be the case that another company will undercut you. So that's the that's sort of the problem the companies face. Then the consumers get to choose whether or not to buy the insurance. So this is like a free market. Nobody's going to force you to be insured. In a later game, I will force you to be insured, and then it's not much of a game because at least from a consumer's perspective, you just keep on buying. But at the moment, this is a free market. So what's going to happen here is that the four companies, they'll each like list the price. Whichever company has the lowest price is going to set the market price because consumers, you can view the product as being like identical between all the companies. So consumers, you guys are going to want to buy from the lowest price company. So whichever company has the lowest price is going to set the market price for that round, and then each of the consumers will get like 30 seconds or so to decide whether or not they want to buy insurance at that price. So the let me just make sure that okay. So basically, each round there's going to be a potential $500 health shock. So each of the consumers is going to start out with basically $1,000 worth of health. Each round you could get a $500 health shock, but it's probabilistic. So for consumer one, there's only a 5% chance during each round that you're going to get this $500 health shock. For consumer 2, it's going to be 10%. For 3, it's going to be 15%. 4 is going to be 20%. So you get the pattern here. 5 will be 25. 6 is 30. And then 7 is 35%. Okay, so basically, the consumers are varying healthiness. So like consumer 1 is the healthiest. They only have a 5% chance of having this negative shock, and then consumer 7 is the least healthy. Now, I know consumer 7 right now, you're thinking like, why am I getting screwed? But don't worry, in game B, then it'll be flipped over. So then consumer 1 will be the least healthy, and consumer 7 will be the most healthy. So you'll have a chance to make it up. Okay, so there's this potential $500 health shock. You're going to start out with like $1,000 worth of health, and then you're going to accumulate additional health at a rate of $125 per round. So you have an incentive to stay alive because if you fall below 0, then you're going to die, and then you're not going to accumulate any more of the $125 per round. And you can insure against this. So the companies will offer some interest for some price. So let's say the first round, the market price is like $200 or something like that. So basically, what that's going to mean is that you can pay $200 and be insured against the $500 shock. Obviously, if you're consumer 1, that doesn't sound like a very interesting proposition because the expected value of the shock is only like 5% times $500, which is very much, I think, it's only like $25 or something like that. But if you're consumer 7, then that might be much more attractive because you have like over a 1/3 chance of being hit with this $500 shock, and so you might want to insure against that. The companies, you guys are going to start out with basically $1,000 times the number of people that you have in the company. So it's basically $1,000 per person. And in theory, like the consumers and the companies have been, the starting values and sort of accumulation rates and so forth have been like roughly equalized. So it's not really more or less advantageous to be in a consumer versus to be in a company. I guess the last thing I'll say is, so consumers go below 0, again, you die and you're not going to play anymore for at least for this round. I forget how many rounds there are. Let me just see. I guess there's like 10. And then for the companies, I think if you fall below 0, then you'll be bankrupt. Hopefully that won't happen because you have like number of people times 1,000, but potentially I guess it could. So company 1, can you guys raise your hands? So there's 5 of you, right? Yeah. So you have I'm going to put 5,000 there. Oops. Company 2, raise your hand. So there's only 5 of you as well, right? 6. Okay. Company 3. So you guys have 5. And then company 4. You guys only have 3. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys don't go bankrupt. And then so the list now. Where's the list gone to? Okay, it's almost over. Okay, so I guess when we get started, so companies discuss amongst yourselves what price you want to sell insurance at. So to be clear, you can't discriminate against anybody. That will come later, I think. But for right now, we're going to simulate a scenario in which there's asymmetric information. So basically, the consumers know how unhealthy they are. Now, obviously, as companies, you also know how unhealthy they are because like everything's up here on the board, and I just wrote up the health probabilities right here. But we're going to basically force you to act as if you didn't know. So anybody who shows up at your doorstep and wants to buy at a price that you offered is going to be able to buy. So you're not able to say, oh, look, it's consumer 7. I know that guy's unhealthy. I'm not going to sell to him. So this is going to basically simulate the asymmetric information. So with that in mind, you guys should discuss what price you want to set, and I'll give you like 30 seconds or 60 seconds, somewhere around there. So you start out with $1,000. The companies are going to negotiate, they're going to figure out what prices they're going to offer. So let's say that like the lowest price company turns out to be company 3 at like $150. So then what you're going to face is a question of, do I want to buy insurance in this round at $150 or not? As a group you decide, yeah. Okay, so our collective initial level is only 1,000. Right. But buying the insurance, well, it depends on what price gets it. But my guess is the price will be somewhere in like the 200s or something like that. At 1,000 for the consumer? Yes. And then each round we're getting how much? 125. So you get 125 no matter what. But if you have a negative health shock, then you fall by 375, right? 125 minus 500. Health shocks? I have a random number generator. Okay. So like maybe like half of the group is going to get, like how many? Well, less because there's only the highest risk group has only about a 1/3 chance of getting a shock each round. You can get multiple, you can not in one round, but over multiple rounds you get multiple shocks. Right? But in any given round, for each group, it's like the highest, the riskiest group is like 35%. So we have a 5%, or for consumer 2, we have 10%. Yeah, in each round, right? So there's 10 rounds. So on average, over the entire game, you would expect to get 1 shock. But of course, technically you could get 10. That would be incredibly unlikely. But right. So like, and each shock is just going to cost you $500. Okay, and that's what each, because we have 3 people, but we only react with 1 consumer. Yeah, you have to use 1 consumer. So then, like at the end, is basically whatever you have gets multiplied by 3 and divided back up. But so for basically, I just want to prevent the companies from going bankrupt, and I have to make sure the consumers all have the same level or like same initial shock. So it's not like some of them are going to be more likely to die other than these heterogeneous self risks. That's just something I have to put in there to see the game. But you can ignore the round 0 thing. Okay. Well, so let's say you offer to sell insurance at like $100, right? And let's say everybody bought it, and for some, this is incredibly unlikely, it will not happen, but for some reason, like everybody had a negative health shock, so you'd be losing $400 per person, right? So there's 7 groups, so you lose $2,800, right? Excuse me? Yeah, that's right. So you could just not participate in the market, and you'd end up with what you started off with, right? Which would be are you guys 3 or 2? Right. So which would be the like $6,000, but divided among 6 people would be like $1,000 per person. Well, your goal is to try to make as much money as possible, because eventually, like participation points for this game will be like an increasing function of how much money you make. Huh? Well, you're competing in the marketplace, yeah. But it's not like what will matter is your overall like performance per person, like overall money per person. So like if all the companies do really well and all the consumers do poorly, like you're not gonna. The fact that like the other companies might have done even better than you isn't going to somehow negatively affect you. Like you'll still do better relative to the consumers. If that makes sense.
Are we taking set a limit for rounds or just playing?
It's 10 rounds. Yeah. Well, it's up to you. Right. So you guys are setting your price, and whoever has the lowest price, you're going to set the price for the market. You become the seller for that round. So if you're in a company, yeah, you should like have a piece of paper and write down your company number and the amount you're going to sell at. It's okay. Have you guys set a price? Not you guys. You're a consumer, right? Yeah.
So that like.
But you're a company, right? Have you set a price? You want to write it on a piece of paper and give it to me?
We have to buy again. So it doesn't matter. But if you get like a stock discount.
Did you guys set a price? Okay. Does somebody have a piece of paper to write it down on? Oh, we'll just put it like on a small, just start off. I just need to, because I don't want some other company like hearing your price and then undercutting you by $1 or something like that. That's all. Oh wait. Oh, you're consumers. Okay. Where's who do I have so far? Oh right, because it was like group 7. Thanks. Did you guys set a price?
What are we gonna do? We're just trying to figure out.
I'll come back to you in like 15 seconds. Okay. Yeah, you can tell me if you're not afraid of them potentially here. Okay. Well, that's irrelevant. Somebody ever. You can just tell me because all the others have set their price. Oh, okay. Okay, so the price in round 1 is going to be $99, but no, don't cheer yet. So 2 groups decided that, and okay, so group 7, sorry, not group 7, consumer or company 4. Since you guys are smaller, call heads or tails. Heads. Okay, so if it's heads, then you'll be the provider, and it's tails. Okay, so the price is going to be $99, and it's going to be provided by company 1, I believe. Okay, so then consumer 1, do you want to buy at that price? Of course not. Consumer 2, do you want to buy at that price? Consumer 3, do you want to buy at $99? No. Consumer 4, do you want to buy at $99? Wait, sorry, consumer 4? No? Okay. Consumer 5? Consumer 6? Consumer 7? Okay, and then let's see. So I think I have to paste this in here. Yep. Okay, so then we need to simulate the outcomes for the shocks.
What is that for round 0?
That's just like a placeholder. It doesn't actually. The negative 500 there don't work consumer 2. You don't have a negative 500 to start out with. And then of course, so they didn't. So they insured. So okay, so you guys lost money. Because I guess your revenue was, what, $297 or something, and then you spent $500 because there was one batch. Okay, so now the companies, given that information, the companies can update their prices for round 2. So I'm going to give you less time this time since you kind of have a better idea of what's going on. No, so consumers can, what do you mean? Yeah, so you guys, consumers are fixed to this entire 10 round thing. Then we're going to have another 10 round, not today, but we'll have another 10 round on Wednesday under different conditions, and then that's when like the probabilities get flipped around. Although if you're 4, you're the same in either case. I see. You guys have a price yet? I'm going to get it from you guys last and see. You guys have a price?